Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. This time we're gonna go into my initial thoughts on multicolor cards in Dragon Ball Super. I can't state initial enough because, you know, these are obviously the first 4 cards we're seeing from dual color, and yeah, I could be wrong on whatever I say here. You know, this is gonna be my initial opinions. I don't think anything's busted, like crazy busted, but I think there's some good cards and some bad cards here. And yeah, I think I'm gonna be able to make a decent prediction on the future. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, let's just see what it looks like. So we're getting another expansion set. So this looks like it's just gonna be some booster packs of set 6 with some promo cards in the front. And from what it looks like, you're going to get 2 of each per expansion set you buy. So you know, to buy a playset of each hero and then the villains on the other is in the other one, you need to get 2 of the expansion sets. So well, before we go to the card list and actually look at what the cards do, let's take a look down here at what they're talking about. So Infinite Unity is the new block, and a lot of people keep talking about, you know, rotation and format rotation and block formats, things like that. Bandai still hasn't mentioned anything about that, so don't get that train hyped up quite yet. They are just doing blocks, I guess, to introduce like new mechanics and introduce new gameplay types and gameplay modes, things like that. So multicolored cards arrive at last. Unity of the Sands is the first set to contain red-green multicolored cards. So it's kind of interesting how they're going with a red-green combination and a blue-yellow combination when, like, most silver bullety things like affect blue-green as a group, or sorry, no, blue-red as a group, or they affect yellow-blue as a group. So it's interesting how they're going like across those different silver bullet trains, if that makes any sense. But yeah, as far as multicolored cards go, I kind of wish this wasn't coming out just for one reason, and you know, I feel like this is a really cool idea. Multicolored cards are a really cool concept and a really out there kind of thing, but the game's only 2 years old, and it'll barely, I don't even think it'll actually be 2 years old by the time that this comes out. So with that being said, like, this is something that we could have waited for maybe like next year or the year after that, and they could have just kind of really solidified the current mechanics and create some more mechanics before getting to the multicolor. I don't know, just an opinion. You know, I just don't want them to run out of concepts too fast, but I'm sure it's gonna be great because Bandai's done a great job of balancing the game as of late. So we'll just read a little bit more of what they're doing. So there are new skills in store as well. So Arrival is pretty nifty. I guess we're getting into card effects now, but we'll read what their little caption says. Arrival can be activated when you have the specified cards in your combo area. You can use it offensively to make additional attacks or defensively to surprise your opponent. One thing I'll mention is, you know, people really didn't like Shugeshikid Goku, and yeah, this is kind of just like Shugeshikid Goku, but we'll get more into that once we get to the actual effect. Alliance, I think is actually really cool. So Alliance is activated by switching specified cards to rest mode when you attack. Each card you switch adds its power to the attackers, and extra bonuses provided on activation make it a more powerful finisher. I do think that effect is really cool. Alliance is something I think is really nifty. Kind of weird how they're putting Broly and Gogeta, you know, teaming up together, but it's also cool at the same time. So we'll scroll back up to the top and we'll just go to the card list for this set, so we'll be able to check out what all these cards here do. So we've got the hero expansion, and then we'll go over to the villain expansion. So we've got the Gogeta Acrobatic Warrior. So this is obviously not a dual color card, but this is something that supports the dual color cards. You can only have one Acrobatic Warrior in play in your battle area. When a battle card that is both red and green with an energy cost of 5 is played in your battle area, so as of right now, that's just the Gogeta down below. Activate the skill. You can play this card from your hand for free. Kind of weird how they let you play a Gogeta next to a Gogeta. Like, usually the game is very thematic in that sense, but you just get to play a Gogeta next to a Gogeta. But I guess that is gonna also trigger on the Broly, huh? The Broly's also a 5-drop. Okay, I'm wrong. That's my bad. But when this card is switched to rest mode by Alliance, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So that's kind of annoying in a sense, where you can, like, kind of, you know, because the Broly gains triple strike, which we'll get to in just a minute, you can pretty much plow through all 4 life if they, you know, if they can't out combo the triple strike. But yeah, personally, I'm not a fan of burn damage at all. Like, I think they should just kind of steer away from burn damage. But yeah, they decided to print it here for whatever reason. I don't think this card will be that competitive, but they did print it for whatever reason. And then we have the Super Saiyan Broly Rampaging Rush. So this is a 4-drop Broly BR. So your 1-drop Unrealized Ambition can go into this. So that's good to note. When you play this card, if there's a card that is both red and green in your energy, draw 1 card. Then your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it in the drop area. So this is kind of just a advantage card you can go into off of your Unrealized Ambition. And when you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So a lot of plus here. If you have the card in your energy area, the card required to trigger this effect, you do get to draw a card. They discard a card and you pop a card. So that's literally what is that? A +3 in terms of overall card economy. That's pretty solid. And like I said, you can cheat it in with the 1-drop Broly Unrealized Ambition. Then we go into the actual dual color cards. So this is where things get really, really nifty. So we got the Gogeta. Again, kind of weird how they're teaming up Gogeta and Broly, but at the same time, kind of cool. So double strike, 5-drop, 20k, 1 10k combo. Arrival red/green. For 1 red energy, you can play this card when you have red and green cards in your combo area. So Arrival red. So what red green looks like? It's gonna, like, when you have the colors that follow like that. It seems like, you know, Arrival is just gonna mean what it means. If you have the cards in your combo area, you play it, and then the red green is gonna specify what colors those cards have to be. So I guess it's gonna always be, you know, a combination of 2 cards, but I wonder what happens if you combo a red green card. Like, does that mean you just got to combo 1 card? I think that makes sense. Play this card from your hand, we have red and green cards in your combo area. So yeah, I guess if you comboed like one of these Gogetas or one of the Brolys down below, I guess you would be able to bring this guy in with Arrival. So Gogeta says, when you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 4 or less, KO it, and you cannot play another Gogeta for duration of the turn. So I guess you can't trigger multiple of this card per turn, which is good for balancing purposes. But yeah, like I said, like, people really were not a fan of Shigeshi Kid Goku. People did not like their battles getting interrupted, but I will say the game has evolved since then. You know, honestly, playing at locals this past weekend with a Shigeshi deck, like, not many decks care necessarily about Shigeshi or Shigeshi Kid Goku. They either play barrier threats, or they can go around it, or they can just, you know, murk your hand so hard that Shigeshi isn't a factor. So this isn't like the most broken thing ever, and it only hits 4 drops or less, so that's also an interesting little caveat to it. But yeah, nonetheless, I think it's a cool card. It's a cool way to cheat in a 5-drop. I hope they don't, you know, get absurd with this. Like, you know, 1 energy for a 5-drop 20k double striker, like, that's pretty big, and, you know, it's pretty equivalent to like Mass Hand the Mysterious Warrior in that sense. So it's not too busted, but I hope they don't print, you know, anything like too stupid with Arrival. That would be kind of annoying. But yeah, oh, and I skipped over Energy Exhaust, which I was not supposed to do. So Energy Exhaust, if you play this card, you have to place it in rest mode. So interesting thing to note, balance perspective, I like it. Having access to 1 energy that counts as 2 colors, I've heard in Magic, you know, fetch lands, things like that, they're absolutely busted for the most part. And the fact that it comes in tapped seems really good for balancing purposes. But the thing is, like, if they print a dual color card, all they have to do is take Energy Exhaust off of that card, and that could be a problem. So hopefully Energy Exhaust is meant to always just be on dual color cards. Hopefully that's what happens with this, but I mean, that remains to be seen in the future. We spent enough time on Gogeta. Let's head down to Broly. So full power Broly Resonant Evolution, 5-drop red green, 1 10k combo, 20k attacker. So EX Evolve. This is kind of nifty how it's an EX Evolve for a red and 2 green. And actually specified cost as well as, like, you know, varied, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, so we've got EX Evolve for a red and 2 greens over a Broly BR with an energy cost of 4. So we just saw the energy cost for Broly up above. There are also 2 energy cost for Brolys from the you know, set 6 and from the Broly starter deck. So Energy Exhaust, once again, if you play this card in energy, it must come in tapped. And then Alliance red green, when this card attacks, you may activate the skill by choosing 1 or more red or green battle cards in your battle area and switching them to active mode. This card gains power equal to the total power of the card switched to rest mode by the skill, and triple strike for the duration of the battle. If you play this card with Evolve, it can't be KO'd by your opponent. So I think Evolve encapsulates EX Evolve. Otherwise, this effect is pretty much useless. But yeah, the gain power thing is pretty cool, but there's like kind of an issue there. Like, you know, people really are not a fan of, like, you know, Mirror Creator Absorbed because it gets around like the comboing mechanic of the game. You know, no one really likes auto win buttons. You know, I don't necessarily think this card is an auto win button. Like, you know, you just got to hold your negate for it. Your opponent's gonna be playing red green, so they really can't tech Battery Laser, which I think is a positive for sure. But yeah, like, people don't like Mira for that reason, although Mira is more easily splashable with battering. So I'll give this card the benefit of the doubt for that reason. But if you don't have a negate for this card, it's probably gonna kill you, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, like, you know, it's pretty late gameplay, so I think I'm okay with it. Definitely not broken, but just some things I'm noting about these dual color cards. So far, like, dual color seems to be cool. Like I said, I kind of wish they held off on this for a bit, but let's read the Unity of Destruction cards. So we have a 2-drop Janemba. You know, back when the Agent of Destruction Janemba came out, I was like, man, this deck does not need any more support. Like, this deck just won, what, 3 back-to-back events? This deck does not need any more support. But then they decided to print, you know, the Agent of Destruction Janemba, but then in the same set we had TN, so Janemba is really fallen off. But now they're giving Janemba more support. I guess they're just falling back on how much of a fan favorite the deck is. So, yeah, with that being said, let's read what this 2-drop does. So, activate main, 1 blue, choose up to 1 Agent of Destruction card with energy cost of 4. That is both blue and yellow from your deck. Play it in rest mode, shuffle your deck, place this card at the bottom of the owner's deck. This is really interesting. So far, I believe the only 2 cards this can get are going to be the Bojack and the Janemba. It's kind of interesting how they're allowing a Janemba card to grab a Bojack. But, yeah, I mean, this is going to grab an Agent of Destruction, and it's going to put it in rest mode, which is also kind of weird because, you know, that doesn't really allow you to do too much with it, like, in terms of attacking. But for the Janemba, I guess it makes sense. So I want to read the Janemba before we get into the Bojack, just so we're on the same train of thought. So here's our dual color card. We got a 4-drop Agent of Destruction Janemba. No critical, interesting enough. Most Janembas do have critical, but they took it off this one for whatever reason. This one does have barrier though, so it's pretty hard to remove when you bring it out with the 2-drop Janemba, and has the effect Aegis blue yellow once per turn. If it's your opponent's turn, you can activate this during the defensive step by placing cards in your hand in your drop area that match all colors specified by Aegis. Choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active mode. So the wording here is a little bit you know, weird, in the sense that, like, if it's your opponent's turn, you can activate this during your defensive step. Got it. Placing cards in your hand in your drop area that match all colors specified by Aegis. So that means like, if I discard 1 blue yellow card, can I untap the 2 energy, or like, does it always have to be 2 cards? Or I think the way it works is, like, you discard either 1 blue yellow card, or you discard a blue and a yellow card to meet that requirement. And honestly, you know, discarding 1 card to untap 2, you know, it's almost like a Senzu Bean in the sense that it can take you from tapped out to 2 energy up. You don't get a negate out of it, you don't get a Senzu Bean out of it, like, in terms of the plus 5k, but it is a solid effect. It's pretty neg if you're discarding 2 cards for that, but if you're discarding 1 card, I can see that being good. Energy Exhaust, again, comes in energy tapped. When this card activates Aegis, if there are no Evil Incarnate cards in play in your battle area other than this card, place 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck in the drop area. So, kind of interesting, I guess, how they realize mill is annoying, so they're only letting this mill 1. But I digress. So let's read the Bojack. 3-drop. Counterattack, negate the attack, play this card. So it's a 3-drop, so you can go into your, you know, 8-drop Bojack from this, I do believe. And during your opponent's turn, if there is a card that is both blue and yellow in your energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So it does become a 1-cost negate. So you negate an attack with it, and then you go into your next turn and you can EX Evolve, which is pretty cool. It's good support for the Bojack deck for sure. But that does force you to play, you know, basically dual color cards in order to make the best use of this. So when you play this card, your opponent places the top card of the deck in the drop area. So again, you get that 1 mill. So it seems like they're almost trying to push like a blue yellow Janemba build, which, like, honestly, my teammates have been talking about a whole bunch, like Janemba just playing like battering laser and to battering your opponent's battering, and like playing Nimbus because Nimbus is super good, and like a 1-drop yellow Whis. You know, it could be more of a thing now, especially with these cards. But let's go down to this Bojack. So this is a 4-drop Bojack. He's not Evil Incarnate, which I figured he wouldn't be, but just double checking so that you know, your Aegis Janemba does trigger off of this. So he's a 4-drop 20k blocker. Arrival blue yellow. For 1 yellow energy, play this card from your hand when you have blue and yellow cards in your combo area. So again, I believe if you combo that 1 blue yellow card, it'll work. Or if you combo a blue and a yellow card, it'll also work. When you play this card, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode, then place top card of your opponent's deck in their drop area. So yeah, this is interesting how this is almost like a Coquette Zone in terms of like stopping attacks, which is much less annoying than you know, the Gogeta that pops stuff. And interestingly enough, I forgot to mention this about Arrival. So if we look at the straight mechanics of Arrival, it's a you do have to be comboing something to bring it to cheat this into play, right? So most combos that are not 10k combos or like super combos or pseudo combos, they're not going to plus you any cards. They're not going to draw you cards. So you have to take a -1 and tap a yellow to cheat this into play, which like isn't the worst thing in the world, especially when you consider like EX Evolve and how that usually requires a discard cost. But yeah, that's if you're, it's only one card if you're comboing a dual color card, as far as I'm, you know, deriving from this text here. So when you combo those cards, it does have to be a -1 if it's a blue yellow card. It'll be a -2 if it's a blue and a yellow card separately. So those are just interesting things to note. You know, you do get a 4.20k blocker for 1 energy by comboing 2 cards. Maybe that's good if you're getting aggroed. I can see that being good if you're getting aggroed. And of course, this is the first wave of dual color support, so no one's expecting it to be busted or ripped or off the bat. You know, especially with Bandai's track record. You know, typically new stuff tends to be pretty busted, and then old stuff tends to be a little bit more balanced, which is the trend we're seeing now. So I'm glad they're keeping it more balanced, and the fact that it comes in tapped is really balanced, I think, especially when you get to later parts of the game. However, I will say that, you know, charging a dual color energy turn 1, where most decks in this game don't have like a really important turn 1 play, like, you know, you might play down Borgos or Whis or Crisis Crusher, but in a lot of matchups those aren't essential turn 1 plays. So you can afford to like charge a dual color energy turn 1, and then the rest of the game it's just going to be a regular energy that serves as 2 colors, which in my opinion is pretty good. I think that's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, with the dual color cards, I think right now they're perfectly fine. Nothing's busted. I think they're good cards. I think they're playable to certain extents. I think the red Gogeta is pretty good. I think the Broly is pretty good. The Bojack Negate is particularly helpful. And yeah, obviously they're going to keep expanding on dual color stuff. Hopefully they don't do it, you know, to the extent of overkill. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty solid. I think this comes out, when does it come out? This comes out May 17th. So actually, yeah, after a few events pass, we're gonna have these dual color cards enter the format. So I'll be really interested to share with you guys how that changes the format. Sorry that this video was not the San Diego event coverage video. I want to bring you guys those videos as early as possible. Like, preferably I would bring you guys the videos on Monday, but the deck lists have just not been flowing lately, you know, and with World TCG, who knows when we'll get them. So hopefully that comes out soon and I'll be able to get you guys that video this week. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to do some research. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video talking about the dual color cards. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think about the dual color cards coming out in the Dragon Ball Super card game? Yeah, let me know what you think. Hashtag Dragon Ball is becoming magic. But yeah, let me guys know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time. You actually sat through all of that and made it to the end? I don't know how you did it, but now that you're here, you might as well hit the subscribe button that's right above me, or maybe check out some of these other videos. I don't know, and I guess we'll see you in the next one. I really don't know how you did it, but good on you.